Whew. Oh. Woo. Welcome, Monday. As I try to work my way through this coffee that I think has a little bit of old creamer in it. Think that whipping cream's gone bad. That's a little bit sour. Good morning, school. Welcome back. It's Monday. We got episode 35 coming at you right now. Welcome to the School of Shred, you guys. If you're logging on right now, go ahead and comment where you're at, where you're located. Throw me a flex emoji in the comments. Show me a little bit of muscle in the morning. This is the show that's designed to help you shred your old and make better your new. A better body, a better mindset, a better life. That is our goal. On this show, we speak of holistic health and fitness. That's mental health, spiritual health, and physical health, because they're all related. All systems are connected. So welcome to a new week. Today, we're going to talk about how I got lost in the mountains. But I chose to get lost in the mountains over the weekend. If you guys want to learn more about any of the topics we discuss on this show, you can go to www.schoolofshredpodcast.com. You can join the email list on there. And I'm currently doing a free 10-part holistic health course that is only going to be run through this week. This is the last week you guys can jump on this offer. I'm going to be charging money for this course as time goes on. This is not a just a gimmick, guys. I'm actually hooking you guys up with 10 free guides on how to change your life. You're crazy if you don't go take advantage of this right now. This is stuff I've come up with over my last 9+ years as a trainer for my clients who have paid me good money. And I'm giving it away for free right now as I launch this podcast and this show. So head over to schoolofshredpodcast.com, enter your email and your name, and you are going to be entered in this 10-part course, and you're going to get your first email immediately. So go ahead and do that, and let's get going. There we go. We got some muscle going now. I see the muscles flying. Muscles flying all over the comment section. Oh my goodness. Morning, everybody. I got lost in the mountains this weekend. And I figured I would start this week by sharing a story. And over the weekend, it was a good buddy's birthday, and a guy that I look up to as far as motorcycles, and he's knows how to wrench on his bike, and taught me how to change the oil on my bike and whatnot. And a good friend of mine, it was his birthday, and so he got like 10 of us together to go for this nice long ride up north here in Washington. And if you've never been in Washington and gone up north by Bellingham on a nice sunny day, I believe they say Southern Utah is God's country. It's the same here in Washington. It's just, this state is absolutely beautiful, which is the only reason a lot of us put up with what we have to and how expensive it is here in Washington. But anyways, there's thick forest, there's country land. And when you go up north, you get to see everything. And so I headed out about 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, and I cut up to Bothell. We all met up, and then we went further north from there. So I live kind of right in the Seattle area, a little closer to the big city. And as you go north, it starts to get more in the outskirts. And I grew up in a little town called Lake Stevens. And that's before I moved east to Ellensburg, which is a country town. But I grew up in this little forest area called Lake Stevens, and that's up north. It's about 40 minutes away from where I live right now. And so we left from Bothell. We kind of go up that direction. As the day went on, I mean, we rode from probably 10, and I got home at 6:30. And I was cooking a brisket in the smoker all day too, so it was a lovely day. But anyway, so, we're riding around and we're going up through the mountains, and it was just amazing. And the whole time I wasn't thinking about anything. And I was at one point just thinking about how this is a true mindfulness practice, riding a motorcycle. Any of my friends who ride, they all say the same thing. It's why it's worth the risk, because when you ride a motorcycle, everybody in your life is going to tell you how dangerous riding a motorcycle is. And and so you gotta have some reasons why you like riding a motorcycle. And all of my friends all say the same thing, and it's that when you ride a motorcycle, you're not thinking about anything else. You're not worried about the dollars in your bank account. You're not worried about any stressors that you have going on in your life. It gets you in touch with the present moment, because if you're not in touch with the present moment, bad things can happen on a bike. I've heard people who skydive or do any other radical things say the same thing. When you engage in these activities, that you can't focus on all the stressors that we get caught up in. You can't get caught up in your own BS. And we all do it. I do it. And the great thing is when you have certain hobbies and activities that you engage in, it can help decompress you and relieve you of stress. And one of the things that I've come up with in the School of Shred curriculum is spirit training. And spirit training, to me, is something that's absolutely imperative to my life, because I've battled depression off and on, since I was young. I'm pretty happy to say that I don't battle it too much anymore, because I have these things I've built into my life, and health is obviously one of them. But health is a big, broad paintbrush, and one of the things that I practice is gratitude and mindfulness and meditation. And so what I realized through writing, or cutting up, sunny day, 75 degrees out, cutting up through the mountains and whatnot, is like when I'm on this bike and I'm out in the woods, I'm just like dreaming and I'm in the moment. Like I'll go back and forth between being in the moment, totally mindful, and then, picturing how I want my life to be, where I want my life to go, the direction I want my life to go. And, I've read it in a lot of old self-development books, and it talks about just, taking the time to just sit and be bored, or sit and think and not have to think about anything, allows you the space in your brain to get more creative and to kind of, really to find peace. So mindfulness is the quality or state of being conscious or aware of something. And so, what I'm talking about when I'm on my bike is that, like, I'm conscious and aware of the current moment, and it's extremely relaxing and relieving of any stress. And so the reason that I'm telling this story is because I want to try and point out some stuff about spirit training today. And I want to start talking about a little bit deeper about what I mean when I'm saying holistic health and fitness. Holistic health and fitness is not like just eat a salad every day. It's not just, having letters in the word green, in your advertising. It means spirit training. It means looking at mental health and spiritual health, and what are some ways that we can, increase that and improve that in our life. And so the reason I tell that story is because I like riding motorcycles. That helps decompress me. That helps create space in my brain, which relaxes me. It helps alleviate a lot of anxiety that comes with life, especially right now where we're at with the world. And I can kind of tune off, and I can live in gratitude for several hours. And when I get home, I feel tremendously better, and I can be a better spouse. I can be more creative in business. It really fills the tank up. And I have a few of those things that I'll get into in a minute. But what I want to ask you is, what's one mindful practice that you have that maybe you're not aware of to this point, but today we can become aware of it? And one thing that you can do daily for at least 10 minutes, starting today, that you can write down. What's up, brother? I see people logging on. What's up? What's up? What's one thing that you can do that gets you in a state of mindfulness? I actually just got a buddy who's jumping on who really helped me learn how to shoot guns. And that's right there is a mindfulness practice. You have to be fully focused on that task when you're training with firearms. But anyway, let's get into some ways that these mindfulness practices have helped me. So mindfulness practices over the last 10 years of me being an adult has helped relieve anxiety. when I meditate or I engage in something that keeps my mind focused only on the task at hand, it really helps decrease the fight or flight response in my body, I've noticed. It increases gratitude. And I've heard it said before that it is impossible to be depressed or have anxiety in the presence of gratitude. And so one thing that happens if I ever get caught up, I can always start to think about the things I'm grateful for in my life. And this has become an absolutely imperative thing that I practice daily. In the School of Shred, I teach a student something called the daily grind. And gratitude practice and journaling is one of those things that's super important, because I believe happiness and fulfillment, I mean, it's obviously an art, but I believe that it's also built off momentum. And the way you build momentum is you have to start doing little things frequently. And then eventually you get this cascading effect of positivity pouring into your life. But a lot of times it doesn't happen in the beginning. And a gratitude practice keeps you happy and on the right course. And so these mindfulness practices help increase gratitude for myself and anybody who I've shared them with when they start doing them. Mindfulness calms my mind. It slows my thought process down so I can think, which is really, really important. Especially as an entrepreneur. I mean, a lot of you guys out there can relate. It's just life gets going really fast sometimes. And when we can calm our mind, we can make better decisions. We can make more logical decisions. We can guide our life where we want it to go better. It frees up brain space for us to be more creative. And when, this whole stay-at-home order started, I was talking about that. Like, I went deep into just spiritual stuff and was like meditating and getting back into that consistently and trying to share that on my Instagram feed and Facebook and whatnot, because one thing that I know is that when hard times happen, if you can't stay calm, you're not creative. If you're not creative, it's a slow death in hard times, especially in economic hard times, when you can get everything taken from you financially and you have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what to do. And if you're not calm, you can't be creative. And I have been an artist my entire life, from drawing when I was a kid to playing guitar. And I realized that when I'm stressed, I'm not creative. And when I first learned this, it was when I used to play shows with my band live. And I would try to improv solos live. And if I was nervous and tense while I was playing, couldn't come up with anything good. But I would always notice when I'm at home at 11 o'clock at night with, dim lighting and I'm just chilling and hanging out, I can come up with the best stuff and write good music. It's because I'm creative. I'm not stressed. And so I've used that in just overall life and in business. And so this is where mindfulness practices kick in. And you have your own in your life right now that you can do. And so this is why all this stuff matters. And so just know that energy flows where attention goes. Okay. And so if you start focusing and giving attention to mindfulness practices and gratitude practices, you're going to get positivity pouring into your life. At some point, you just got to be consistent with it. You can write it down, or you can take 10 minutes a day and engage in an activity that you like, that fits your mindfulness practices, where you can be caught in the current moment. And so I'm going to go over a couple just common practices that you might be able to implement or you might be doing, that now going forward, you can be a little bit more aware how beneficial these can be, and you can utilize them and weaponize them to create a better life. So mindfulness practices are anything that keeps your awareness in the moment. We just went over that. So meditation is one of the best ways to do it, because it forces you to just sit and be with yourself and your thoughts for, at least 10 minutes. At the School of Shred, that's a non-negotiable. That's part of the daily grind. It's something that people tend to think they don't have time. Those are the people who need to meditate more than anybody, because you have 10 minutes. And what happens is when you create 10 minutes in your day and prioritize meditation, you actually create more time, because you calm your mind down and you can get more done. You're not as erratic and reactive in life. Speaking from personal experience on that, the times when I don't want to meditate are the times I need it the most. So I had a friend comment on one of the one of my social platforms that walking the dog is a one way that they do it. Absolutely, this is a big thing that we do at my house. We walk our dogs. If I'm alone and I go for a walk, I will when the show wraps up today. I'll go for a quick short one to get some steps up. Go walk around the block. It's like 10, 15 minutes. I can just breathe in the fresh air, listen to the birds, take in the sounds, as opposed to think about the rest of my day. I'm going to actually intentionally not think about anything on this walk so I can treat it as a mindfulness practice. I'm not going to allow my thoughts to dictate this walk. And that makes it much more refreshing and can set the tone for the day for me. So just going for a walk, if you don't have dogs, is great. If you got dogs, take them out. Hiking, another great one. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we have mountains, an hour away. We got water 15 minutes away. Really an amazing landscape we have here. And hiking is definitely one that can get you in the moment and mindful. I got some friends I got numerous friends that don't even know each other, but they all went to Mount Rainier this weekend. And beautiful hike. It was a great weekend. That right there is a great form of mindfulness practice. Jiu-jitsu is one of my top things that I like to do and engage in martial arts. Both of those things, you have to be focused on the task at hand. I've competed in jiu-jitsu tournaments, and that right there is a great mindfulness practice, especially when it comes to managing stress, mental stress, and really kind of getting in that moment. You have to be in that flow state when you're doing jiu-jitsu, especially like when I'm in the gym sparring. You're definitely not thinking about, anything else going on. And I think this is exactly why martial arts and jiu-jitsu is so like sticky. People just get obsessed with it because it's one of these things that you can go do that has community, which is huge. Community is absolutely essential to make things sticky, but it also makes you live in the moment. So I love jiu-jitsu for that. And then guitar or playing instruments, you got to focus on the task at hand. In addition to that, I got a buddy who engages in he has learned Korean, and so he's really deeply into his studies with learning the language. And this is something that kind of forces you to be in the moment and just kind of enjoy the learning process. So my personal mindfulness practices are riding my motorcycle in the summertime. I love doing that. Playing guitar, something I've done my whole life. My favorite hobby for sure, playing guitar is. It's really my jam, so to speak. And jiu-jitsu, another huge one. I love training. When I do that, I tend to get obsessed. I want to do it all the time. That's a main one. And then going for walks. I absolutely love going for walks now. I've been really hooked on that through quarantine. So, yeah, guitar's awesome. Play guitar. Absolutely, baby. It's the best, brother. So anyway, so those are some things that you can do, but there's a lot of stuff, you have like yoga, like a yin yoga, just anything that keeps you in the current moment. There's a great book by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now. And, he talks a lot about in that how we get caught up in the past and the present a lot, or the past and the future a lot. Like we future trip or we're thinking about the past. Usually that takes up like most of your day, which is really weird if you start to think about that. If you start to think about like how often are you thinking about the past and stressing about that, or you're stressing about the future, the next paycheck, what the kids got to do this week, what you have to do this weekend or next week, or who you have to help. Like we're constantly going either past or future, and we're not in the present. And The Power of Now is a great book that just talks about like training your mind to be in the moment and don't allow yourself to think about the past or the future. Obviously, there's a time and a place because you need to prepare and plan. But if you read that book, and something that I did when I read that book was I tried practicing it, and the amount of anxiety relief that practice has given me is absolutely amazing. And it's a constant practice because we all get caught up in our own BS, like I was talking about, and life starts to move pretty quickly. So that's a great book, though. If you guys want to read that, and you're maybe struggling with some spirit stuff, and you want to do a little spirit training, mindfulness is a great way to do it. And so to wrap up, again, I want to ask you to commit to one mindfulness practice for at least 10 minutes a day. Okay, and realize that mindfulness is for your health. This is not just you got to go do a hobby. Okay, hobbies are important for a reason, you guys. There's a reason that people light up. They might be like the world's best at something, but then their hobby, it's like if you compliment them on their hobby, it's like they start blushing. It's like it's because it fills people's tanks up. This is what makes us spiritually whole to a certain extent. And depending on what hobby it is, it could potentially be something. A lot of times it is something that keeps you caught in the moment. And it's not just a tune out, like just watching a movie or something like that. This is not, you don't just tune out. You want to tune in to yourself and the current moment. And you can really help calm yourself down. And on a physiological level, this is all important because it reduces cortisol. It reduces the fight or flight response that is super prevalent in our world right now. And it's funny, as a personal trainer, when I first got into training and being a coach, it was like, learn how to stress people's bodies out the best. What's the scientific, best way to stress somebody's body out with force? How to lift, how to do cardio, how to lose body fat, get them on a hypocaloric diet, drop their calories really low, which stresses the body out. And it's funny, it's like the longer I do this, all of the courses I've been engaged in over the last several months, it goes way deeper into lifestyle. Now it's about the opposite. Now it's about how do we de-stress the body, because people have gotten really good at stressing the body out. We're really good at that. We need to focus on de-stressing. And so we can become more creative and we can become more fulfilled. And like a huge inspiration to me, Tony Robbins says, fulfillment is an art. And so it is something that there's not like this perfect path to having a fulfilling life. It's not just money. I'm a big believer that it is this stillness that you create inside the two walls of your brain. And so find a mindfulness practice, do it at least 10 minutes a day, prioritize it. If you got to do it in the morning, do it. If you got to do it at night, do it. But stay accountable to it. It's not a waste of time. Your hobbies are not a waste of time if they get you in the moment. Something like riding a motorcycle is not a waste of time if it is decompressing you and de-stressing you. That's adding a lot to your life. And friends also do this. Obviously I didn't mention that, but a good circle of friends, of positive friends, is also a good mindfulness practice and keeps you in the moment. Community is very, very important. So that's episode 35, y'all, of the School of Shred. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you. If you guys can go do a review on the podcast app, jump on iTunes, folks. Help the school grow organically, baby. Let's go. Jump on there, do a review. It takes a couple minutes, but what it does do is it helps the show grow. It helps this little old show get more traction so more people can listen. And if you guys got value from this episode today, what I'm going to ask you to do is please share this episode on your Facebook wall. Share it on your Instagram feed. Help the show grow. Help share this with people in your life if you think it will help them. The goal of this show is to help you change your life in a holistic manner. Okay. And that's not just how to shred body fat and reveal nice muscles. It's how to shred limitations, how to shred old habits. Okay. The School of Shred it might seem like it's all about just the look, but it is not. It's the reason I came up with that name is because it's multifaceted and it's much more about shredding the old you and creating the new you. And so share this to folks in your life, show the show some love. We will be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time for episode 36. We're getting up there, getting to 100 here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Much love. With that, I want you guys to stay strong and healthy in body. Stay relentless and energized in spirit. And stay determined in your pursuits, baby. That spells shred. Now go shred the day and get better in every way. We'll see you guys tomorrow.